The first ever EU-UK summit begins with deals reached on food, fishing, defense and passports.
Former US President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer, his office announced.
Israel says it is letting a basic amount of food into Gaza after a nearly 3-month blockade, citing a need to enable the expansion of intense fighting.
Mexican president promises a joint investigation after Brooklyn Bridge collision leaves 2 sailors dead.
Brussels and London on Monday agreed to new deals on fishing, energy, youth mobility and defence, following marathon talks that concluded hours before the first ever EU-UK summit. The new deal includes a 12-year agreement allowing EU fishing boats in UK waters and a new security and defence partnership. The UK government hailed the deal, saying it is good for jobs, good for bills and good for the borders. A joint statement on the agreement by British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and Council Chief Antonio Costa is expected to show common ground on key geopolitical challenges. For both sides, the summit was initially aimed at showcasing alignment on key global issues at a time when the post-war multilateral world order is rapidly changing.
Former US President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer, his office has announced. Doctors found urinary symptoms and a prostate nodule and have said the cancer cells have spread to the bone. Biden's office added that treatment options are being reviewed with his physicians. Many political leaders sent Biden their wishes for his recovery, including former President Barack Obama. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump posted on social media that he was saddened by the news and he wishes Joe a fast and successful recovery.
Israel says it is letting a basic amount of food into Gaza after a nearly 3-month blockade, citing a need to enable the expansion of intense fighting. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his cabinet was acting at the recommendation of the IDF to prevent a hunger crisis, which they say would endanger their newest ground offensive.
כמו שהבטחנו, אנחנו פתחנו במערכה עצימה נגד החמאס, מרכבות גדעון, כוחות צה"ל פשוט נכנסים בכוח לתוך הרצועה, במטרה כפולה, הכרעת החמאס ושחרור חטופינו. 2 מטרות שמשולבות זו בזו, ואנחנו נשיג את שניהם.
A leading authority on the severity of hunger crises said nearly 500,000 Palestinians in Gaza are already living in catastrophic levels of hunger and face possible starvation. Food security experts warned last week that Gaza would likely fall into famine if Israel doesn't lift its blockade and stop its military campaign. Pro-West independent candidate Nicu Sordan staged a dramatic comeback on Sunday to win the Romanian presidential elections with a firm 54% of the votes.
E victoria voastră, să știți! E victoria mii și mii de oameni care au făcut campanie zilele astea, care au crezut că România poate să se schimbe în direcția corectă. Nu uitați niciodată forța de care ați dat dovadă săptămânile astea, pentru că o să avem împreună lucruri de traversat.
Dan's hard-right contender George Simeon received 46% of the votes in the unprecedented political thriller, which transfixed and polarized the Eastern European country.
Vreau să mulțumesc celor peste 5 milioane de români care și-au pus încrederea în mine. Nu îi voi dezamăgi, nu există un lucru mai de preț pentru mine decât încrederea lor. Am fost singuri împotriva unui întreg sistem, singuri împotriva tuturor. Sunt mândru de voi și sper că v-am reprezentat cu cinste.
Romania's choice brings a sigh of relief for the EU, Ukraine, and the Republic of Moldova at a crucial time for all. But the deep divisions in fractured Romanian society, represented by the small difference in the votes, mean that future President Dan faces a massive challenge to reunite the country and address the looming economic turmoil gripping Romania.
From environmental exemptions to cutting red tape, the European Commission has presented its simplification plan for the agricultural sector. Shortly after the plan was announced, European Commissioner for Agriculture Christoph Hansen gave details of the project during a meeting organized by Euronews. He said the plan is intended to benefit all players, from farmers to member states.
What is felt as administrative burden on the farm is not only CAP, there's as well environmental legislation, health and sanitary legislation, often as well national or regional legislation. So I think everybody needs to contribute to cut down this bureaucracy.
The simplification plan should save farmers €1.5 billion a year and national authorities €210 million. The package of measures is aimed in particular at small farms and organic production. It involves providing exemptions from environmental rules, also known as cross-compliance, or financial aid for practices that benefit the environment or the competitiveness of farms. The Commissioner is also keen to develop the digitalization of the sector.
So I have as a farm my digital wallet, and if the water administration needs to know something from my land, they can take it out of that. If the environmental agency needs to know something, they can take it. I think it is very important that we reduce as well the stress for our farmers, because currently it depends on the member state. They are facing 5, 6, 7 controls in a year. Yeah. And that is causing a huge stress to our farmers, and therefore we want as well to reduce these controls. And there the member states are as well to deliver. We want to reduce this to 1 control per year.
Environmental NGOs believe that this simplification threatens the environmental objectives of the agricultural sector. However, Hansen says he is responding to the concerns of farmers who have demonstrated on numerous occasions over the past year against European regulations that they believe are too restrictive.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum mourned the deaths of 2 sailors in the aftermath of the maritime collision at the Brooklyn Bridge Saturday. The Mexican naval vessel Katumak was en route to Iceland as part of a goodwill tour when it lost power and struck the Brooklyn Bridge Saturday.
La Secretaría de Marina y la Secretaría de Relaciones Exteriores. Hay coordinación con las autoridades locales y por supuesto pues coordinación entre la embajada y la Secretaría de Relaciones Exteriores y el gobierno de los Estados Unidos.
11 sailors were left in a critical condition when the Mexican vessel lost power and proceeded to crash into the Brooklyn Bridge shortly after 8 p.m. local time Saturday. The captain of the vessel reported losing power prior to the crash, with the National Transport Safety Board now conducting a full investigation.
Living close to the front line means more than surviving the constant threat of an attack. It's also a daily battle for basic needs, like medical care. In war-torn Ukraine, one organization named Dignitas Ukraine is stepping in where clinics no longer exist. Now, this is where residents living in the community of Biskvitne, once a Russian-occupied area of the Kharkiv region, come for care. The organization offers medical and psychological support to those, often the elderly or disabled, who by choice or not have remained. Co-founder Anna says one of the most important parts of their visit is showing locals they have not been forgotten.
Щось важливе, що про них хтось турбується. Це, як знаєте, що як підтримка. Тобто все буде добре. Це дуже важливо кожному чути, що ти впораєшся. Ми тебе просто підтримуємо.
With limited access to transport and financial resources, Yevinya relies on the mobile clinic to visit her home and help take care of her severely disabled son. Yevinya came back after evacuating with her son from the Russian invasion of the area. But if another occupation came, the 77-year-old and mother of 13 said she would not leave as it takes too much of a toll on her son.
She will stay. Easy. And she don't want to make him suffer.
Despite the dangers, which include drone attacks, mined roads and extreme weather conditions, the team works 7 days a week, covering 27 communities in the Kharkiv and Donetsk regions. Tatiana is one of the volunteer doctors, and she says she will work no matter the conditions.
Звик допомагати людям. Це твоя професія, це твоє призначення. Тобто це не великі слова, це так воно і є. Це не звертаєш ти уваги на середовище, ти не звертаєш увагу на їх соціальний рівень. Ти повинен виконувати свою роботу якісно. Ти повинен це робити, ти робиш це.
Daily bombings have destroyed homes, hospitals and vital infrastructure, leaving residents in a critical humanitarian situation. But during our time with the volunteers, it was clear that resilience was their only way forward.